Have you ever known the right thing to do but kept putting it off? Maybe it was a conversation you needed to have, a decision you needed to make, or a step of faith God was calling you to take. The longer we resist, the harder our hearts become. Today, we're going to see that play out in the life of Pharaoh as we continue our journey through Exodus chapters 7, 8, and 9. Welcome to Faithful Daily Steps. I'm your host, LaShonda. God has called Moses to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, but Pharaoh refuses to let them go. What follows is a powerful display of God's authority, patience, and power. Let's jump in. Chapter 7. In chapter 7, God sends Moses and Aaron before Pharaoh once again with a simple message: let my people go. To confirm God's authority, Aaron throws down his staff and it becomes a serpent. Pharaoh's magicians perform a similar act, but Aaron's staff swallows theirs, demonstrating that God's power is greater. When Pharaoh still refuses to listen, God turns the Nile River into blood. Fish die, the rivers smell terrible. Egypt's water supply is devastated, yet Pharaoh's heart remains hard. In chapter 8, the plague continues. First, frogs cover the land. They invade homes, bedrooms, and every corner of Egypt. Then come gnats. Then swarm of flies. During the plague of flies, God begins making a distinction between Egypt and the land of Goshen, where the Israelites live. This shows that God is protecting his people even while judgment falls around them. Several times, Pharaoh promises to let the Israelites go, but once the plague ends, he changes his mind. His words say one thing, his actions say another. And then finally, in chapter 9, a disease strikes Egypt's livestock. Painful boils break out on people and animals. Finally, God sends a devastating hailstorm unlike anything Egypt has ever experienced. Before sending the hail, God gives a warning. Anyone who listens can bring their servants and livestock under shelter. Some people listen, others ignore the warning. Those who listen are protected. Those who refuse suffer the consequences. Even after all this, Pharaoh still refuses to surrender. One of the biggest lessons from these chapters is that a hardened heart doesn't happen overnight. It happens one ignored warning at a time, one delayed act of obedience, one excuse, one moment of pride. Pharaoh kept seeing evidence of God's power, but seeing God's power and surrendering to God's authority are two different things. God still speaks to us today. He speaks through scripture. He speaks through prayer. He speaks through wise counsel. The question isn't whether God is speaking. The question is whether we're listening. Take a moment today and ask yourself, is there any area of my life where God has been calling me to take a step of obedience? What would happen if I stopped resisting and started trusting him? The story of Exodus points us directly to Jesus. Moses was sent to deliver God's people from physical slavery. Jesus came to deliver us from spiritual slavery. The plague reveals God's power over Egypt. Jesus revealed God's power over sin, death, and the grave. Pharaoh held people in bondage. Jesus set people free. Throughout Exodus, we see God making a way for his people. In Jesus, God provides the ultimate way for all we believe. As we close today's episode, remember this: God's warnings are an act of mercy. His correction is an act of love. And obedience is often the first step towards freedom. Thank you for joining me today on Faithful Daily Steps. In our next episode, we'll explore Exodus chapters 10, 11, and 12. If this message has helped you to understand Scripture better, please feel free to share with a friend or 2 or 3. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, keep taking faithful daily steps one day at a time. God bless.